The World Cup is over, and in less than 7 days, the Arsenal are back with West Ham United in our sights, and likewise the January transfer window as Edu Gaspar makes his moves. Today we'll get an update on Mykhaylo Mudryk as well as contacts for Sergej Milinkovic Savic. We'll also get a massive update on the injuries to find out which Arsenal players could make their returns for Boxing Day. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. It has been a while. I apologize, but I have been suffering with a little illness. It's fine, I'm all good, and the Arsenal is soon to return. So if you enjoy the content, smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. But let's get straight into this, and starting off with Arsenal's return. The World Cup is officially over. Lionel Messi is a world champion and William Saliba is returning to the Emirates Stadium. And isn't it just crazy that dating back to 2020, we are talking Neil Maupay injuring Bernd Leno. It was unfortunate at the time, but it gave an opportunity to Emi Martinez, who came in, was fantastic, helped Arsenal win the FA Cup, moved to Aston Villa, made it into the Argentina team, and then it helps Lionel Messi win the World Cup. The butterfly effect is crazy, and with Martinez winning the goalkeeper of the tournament, I have seen a few Arsenal fans once again bring up the fact that was it a mistake to let him leave and go to Aston Villa. Him and Aaron Ramsdale are slightly different profiles. Even though Martinez is a fantastic shot stopper, there's a reason why Pep Guardiola has Edison and why Mikel Arteta has Aaron Ramsdale. Both are goalkeepers with fantastic technical qualities, which make them very unique profiles. But in terms of the standout Arsenal player at the World Cup, it was definitely Bukayo Saka, scoring 3 goals for England, and he has made it into the team of the tournament for L'Equipe, alongside the front three of Messi and Mbappe. This was the tournament where Bukayo Saka announced himself on a world stage, and that will bring a different level of respect, but it also increases his value. And in terms of Arsenal trying to renew his contract, they need to get that sorted as soon as possible, because the longer they wait for that, the higher and higher Saka's wages are getting. But in terms of the Arsenal, back in the space of a week's time, and since my last video, they have been named the Dubai Super Cup champions. They've also lost 2-0 to Juventus. Despite having 75% of the ball, 772 passes and 19 shots, Arsenal only had 2 shots on target and conceded 2 own goals. And in terms of the standout players for me, they were definitely the youngsters, and the standout one was definitely Mario Kuzia-Dubry off the bench. Playing on the left hand side, he gave me vibes of a young Bukayo Saka. So fearless, so strong, so direct, and if I'm right in saying only 17 years of age. I was also very impressed by Ethan Nwaneri, a player that is still 15 years of age, and he was looking so razor sharp, so composed. The fact that he's even involved with the Arsenal first team at 15 years of age, whisper it very quietly, but we might have a little bit of a super talent on our hands. But then you have Eddie Nketiah, who missed a sitter in the first half. But as Mikel Arteta says, the way that Eddie trains every day, the mentality he has, he leaves us with no doubt that he is ready to perform. And with the standard that Gabriel Jesus has set, it adds that extra bit of pressure to Eddie Nketiah. And here's one thing that I will say: despite him missing the opportunities, with the reintroduction of Saliba at the back, and more importantly, the wide forwards of Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, Nketiah now has an environment to thrive, and he is going to get chances. But once the goals start flowing, we saw it last season and we'll see it hopefully again, Eddie has all of the fundamentals to become a very effective striker. And he might not be Gabriel Jesus, but at the same time, he is our only option. So as Arsenal fans, I think we don't have many other options but to support him, and hopefully he's able to stand up and be held accountable and justify why exactly he was given the Arsenal number 14. Moving on to the Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with our sporting director Edu Gaspar, who, according to Ryan Taylor of The Express, a leading British representative, recently disclosed to Express Sport that Arsenal's recruitment has become far more club driven, with Edu now more recognised as one of the most respected strategic operators in football, having been far more intermediary based prior to that. Edu Gaspar is getting more and more praise behind the scenes, and if you speak to the likes of Fabrizio Romano, the agents that those guys speak to respect Edu Gaspar as one of the best directors of football in the whole of Europe. And recently he was upgraded to the Arsenal sporting director. It looks like Edu Gaspar is growing into the role and he's getting better and better. But then you have the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta, who says on Arsenal's plans in January, we are very active and looking at the possibilities, and if we can find the players that can strengthen the team, we will try. Arteta confirms that Arsenal are going to be active, but where exactly is that going to be? Well, starting off with central midfield. According to reports in the UK, Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot has been offered to a number of Premier League sides as his contract expires at the end of the season, and Arsenal are among the clubs that have been in regular contact with the player players' representatives. Adrien Rabiot had a pretty impressive World Cup, and even though it wasn't meant to be in the final, throughout a majority of their games we saw a player that was able to control the midfield, a very high volume and reliable passer. Rabiot has a lot of good physical attributes to be a top midfielder. And we ain't talking no youngster here, we're talking someone that's 27 years of age in the peak of his powers. He's able to play as a number 6 and as a number 8, and could have actually gone to Manchester United back in the summer. But the concern for Rabiot is the wages. He's looking for a massive amount, and that's what pushed away Man United. And Rabiot has also got a history of being a bit of a nuisance behind the scenes in the dressing rooms. Is Rabiot that dressing room character that Mykhaylo Mudryk will want? I have my doubts, and therefore Arsenal might like the player, but I don't see him being anywhere near our priorities. But what about Sergej Milinkovic Savic? Well, according to the reliable Mykhaylo Mudryk, Arsenal have had contacts with the agents of Sergej Milinkovic Savic, and they've been laying the groundworks for a possible deal for Milinkovic Savic in June, where his price tag could fall to 40 to 50 million euros. You also have Chelsea and Juventus that are interested. Sergej Milinkovic Savic is a powerhouse, and he might not be a number 6, but playing as a box-to-box and number 8, getting into that final third, he could be a potential level raiser. He's also now entering the peak of his powers, and it looks like this could finally be the summer where he leaves Lazio. The fact that he's now been linked to Arsenal by a reliable source, does that mean that Arsenal are changing their priorities? Are they now looking for a more attack-minded midfielder over a number 6 because they trust in Mohamed Elneny? Well, I still believe Arsenal will want to sign a number 6, but they might have a massive name in mind that they can't sign in January because he won't be available, and therefore they will leave those plans for the summer. But they also want to strengthen in terms of the attacking depth, and they see Sergej Milinkovic Savic as a market opportunity for the price tag of around £40 million. So comment down below if you believe Arsenal should sign Sergej Milinkovic Savic. But what about the wide forwards? We have to talk about Mykhaylo Mudryk, as the Arsenal target was recently spotted in Dubai, the same place that Arsenal were also at for the Dubai Super Cup, but there's been no confirmation of why the player was there and if there's any correlation. But in terms of Fabrizio Romano, he says that Arsenal are still working on it, in direct contact with the player's agents. He is a priority for Arsenal. Remains to be seen if they can reach an agreement with Shakhtar, and discussions are going on, but nothing is advanced or close to completion. Now, Arsenal being in contact with the player's representatives isn't that massive, and that's because the player obviously wants to move to the Emirates Stadium, so us trying to agree personal terms isn't my real concern here. The real concern, of course, is agreeing that fee with Shakhtar, as they are being very stern in negotiations, and they have set a very hefty price tag which ranges from £50 million all the way up to £100 million. So according to the Shakhtar CEO, to be honest, I don't know if Mudryk will be sold. At the moment, we are quite far from what we want and what the clubs propose. It's not so far, but it is not what we want. We've had discussions, one club, another club, and they negotiate. So is that a confirmation that a team has put an offer forward, and if that is to be a club, most likely it is going to be Arsenal. But it's still not quite what Shakhtar want. But according to David Ornstein, the likelihood is that Shakhtar will come down in price for Mudryk when push comes to shove. It's a tricky situation, but there are some people in the industry who talk, who think Arsenal will get it done. There seems to be some sort of confidence from some people behind the scenes that Arsenal are going to agree a fee. But what about Dusan Vlahovic, the blockbuster Juventus striker that Arsenal wanted to sign back in 2021? According to Ben Jacobs, there is a very real possibility that Dusan Vlahovic will leave Juventus in 2023. A January exit is not being ruled out by those close to him, and several top European clubs are in touch with his agents, including Chelsea, although nothing particularly advanced at this moment. Now, Juve are currently in financial crisis and they might be forced to sell, and they've also not been in the best of form on the pitch either. Vlahovic, I think, realises that he actually made a mistake by going there, and by not coming to Mykhaylo Mudryk's Arsenal, who are thriving top of the Premier League. Regardless of Juve's form, Vlahovic has still been scoring goals on a very consistent basis. So without Gabriel Jesus for up to 3 months, could Arsenal be back in for their ex-targets? Well, according to Fabrizio Romano, there is no context between Arsenal and Vlahovic as things stand. Let's see in January, but it's quiet right now. Vlahovic is focused on recovering from his injury, and this is a key point. He is not 100% fit yet. That profile of Vlahovic, that deadly ball striker, makes him a bit similar to Erling Haaland, and could be seen as a good alternative to Gabriel Jesus. He's definitely a player that Mykhaylo Mudryk wanted once upon a time. So having previously rejected our calls, is he a player that Mykhaylo Mudryk still wants to sign, or has this boat sailed? If Dusan Vlahovic is going to be available, comment down below if you think Arsenal should go and sign it. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today. And starting off at the Emirates Stadium, as Arsenal are looking to renovate, they have stripped out the outsides, and right now this is what it looks like. And according to Chris Davison, the brand new Emirates Stadium artwork will be completed next month, and Arsenal believe it will be worth the wait. It definitely was weird seeing the Emirates Stadium from the outside not having any artwork, but at the same time they're trying to renovate, they're trying to make something new, and I'm looking forward to seeing what exactly that's going to be. But what about the injuries? Well, according to Mykhaylo, there was no Tomiyasu against Juventus due to a hamstring issue, and the absence of Zinchenko is down to a muscular problem. And even though we have Kurantini, when Zinchenko has been fit and available, he has been starting the games. The fact that he has been training with the Arsenal first team definitely means he's close, but is he going to be available for that game against West Ham? We're going to have to wait and see. But then you have Emil Smith-Rowe. According to Mykhaylo, in the last few days hasn't been able to train, but hopefully he can start next week. He's been out for a while and he needs time to get back to speed. We are going to welcome him with both arms because he's a really important player. In the second half of the season, ESR has all it takes to become a very important player for Arsenal and re-announce himself to the world of football. We are talking a player that was in double figures for goals last season, and he only started games to the first half. We might have Martin Odegaard and we might have Fabio Vieira, but Emil Smith-Rowe gives us a more dynamic ball carrier, and in certain games, especially off the bench, the attributes of ESR make him such a devastating player in transition, and therefore I think he could have a massive impact. But what about Gabriel Jesus? According to reports, the Arsenal medical staff are looking at February the 25th, a game against Leicester City away, as a possible return date for striker Gabriel Jesus. His recovery from knee surgery is going well and as planned. Now, the impact of Gabriel Jesus has been gargantuan, and this graphic shows it: the ball retention ability, his defensive work rate for the ball recoveries and interceptions, his XG from ball progression. We are definitely going to have a hole in our team, and it's down for Eddie Nketiah to fill that. Jesus could be out for the games against Man United, Spurs away, and even that gargantuan game against Man City at the Emirates Stadium in February. This is definitely going to be the biggest test that Arsenal have faced so far in terms of adversity. Let's talk about the Arsenal owners, or should I say future owners, as according to The Athletic, Arsenal is the club that the Ambani family would go for if they were to enter the football world, over Man United and Liverpool. Mukesh Ambani's son Akash is reported to be a big Arsenal fan. The owners of the Mumbai Indians, and I believe the 8th richest man in the world. These guys are super rich and have been linked with buying both Man United and Liverpool, but Arsenal is the team they have the most interest in. But buying Arsenal is a different question, especially with the Cronkies being very happy and very secure, and also having a process in place at Arsenal with, of course, Mykhaylo as the manager, Edu Gaspar as the sporting director, and it's a process that we are starting to see on the pitch, and it's starting to win over Arsenal fans. So comment down below your current thoughts on the Arsenal owners, and are you happy for them to own Arsenal going into the future? But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, smash a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, the links are also down below in the description. But that was all of today's latest Arsenal news, and the World Cup is over. See you later, my friend. And now it's the return of the Premier League. Back in less than a week's time, it's West Ham at the Emirates Stadium. I'm excited, I know you are as well. So I'll see you next time. Take care, and in a bit.